heat has made you powerful. Fulfill your destiny. Take your father's place at my side.
To imagine Luke Skywalker as the Empire's rising star isn't just a twist on his hero's journey. It's a masterclass in how power corrupts and how the line between apprentice and adversary can dissolve in the shadow of the dark side. In this what-if universe, Luke doesn't just embrace darkness. He harnesses it, weaponizes it, and turns it into a tool for dominance. The Apprentice's Ascent isn't just about a boy becoming a Sith. It's about how rage, ambition, and a father's legacy can twist the galaxy's last hope into its worst nightmare. Let's unpack the three pillars of this descent and how they rewrite the very fabric of Star Wars' most iconic relationships and themes. First, harnessing the Force. The dark side isn't a skill. It's a shortcut, fueled by the raw, unfiltered emotions the Jedi forbid. For Luke, this shortcut isn't just tempting, it's liberating. In the original saga, Luke learns to wield the Force with patience, balance, and empathy. Ben and Yoda teach him to quiet his mind, to let go of anger. But here, anger isn't a flaw, it's fuel. Imagine Luke, fresh from Tatooine, his grief over Owen and Barrow still raw, his hunger for purpose unquenchable. Palpatine doesn't just seduce him, he gives him permission to feel, to rage at the Empire for taking his family, to resent the Jedi for abandoning him, to crave the power to never be helpless again. The dark side responds to that hunger. Luke doesn't spend years training in the swamps of Dagobah, he masters Force Choke in weeks, learns to deflect blaster bolts with a crimson lightsaber in months, and even dabbles in Force lightning. An ability Vader himself can't fully control within a year. Why? Because the dark side doesn't ask for balance, it asks for fervor. Luke's power isn't just greater than in the original timeline. It's more terrifying, because it's unshackled. He doesn't hesitate to use the Force to break a rebel's wrist during an interrogation, or to telekinetically fling a Jedi survivor off a cliff. The cost? His empathy. He stops seeing his victims as people, their obstacles, enemies, proof of his weakness if he spares them. Harnessing the dark side doesn't just make Luke strong, it makes him cold. And that coldness is what makes him the Empire's most valuable weapon. Next, the Imperial Enforcer, Luke Skywalker as a hunter, isn't just a role reversal. It's a psychological warfare tactic the Empire could only dream of. Think about it. The boy who was supposed to save the galaxy is now the one hunting down those who dare to resist. Jedi remnants, rebel sympathizers, even ordinary civilians who whisper about freedom. Luke tracks them all, and he never fails. His effectiveness comes from two deadly advantages. He understands the enemy, and he has no mercy. He knows how Jedi hide because Ben Kenobi taught him. He knows how rebels plan, because he once was one. When he arrives on a planet suspected of harboring Jedi, he doesn't send stormtroopers to ransack villages. He walks into the town square, ignites his crimson lightsaber, and says, "I know you're here. Come quietly, or everyone burns." More often than not, the Jedi surrender out of fear or out of hope that the boy they've heard stories about can still be saved. Luke doesn't give them that chance. He cuts them down without a second thought, their pleas for mercy falling on deaf ears. For the rebellion, Luke's role as enforcer is a death blow to morale. Leia Organa, once his ally, now stares at holograms of Luke's killings, her voice cracking as she addresses her troops. This isn't the Luke we knew. This is a monster. But Luke doesn't care. He's too busy collecting trophies, Jedi lightsabers, rebel insignias, to notice the galaxy's horror. He's become the very thing he once swore to destroy, a tool of oppression. And the Empire loves him for it. Palpatine parades him as a symbol of order through strength, a living proof that even the brightest stars can be turned to darkness. Luke eats it up. The adulation, the power, the fear, they're addictive, and like any addict, he craves more. Which brings us to the most volatile shift, Vader's new heir. The dynamic between Anakin Skywalker and Luke was always fraught father and son, Sith and Jedi, enemy and ally. But in this timeline, it evolves into something far more dangerous, a rivalry. At first, Vader is proud. He watches Luke cut through Jedi and rebels with the same ferocity he once had, and he sees a reflection of his younger self before the suit, before the regret. He even tries to mentor Luke to teach him the lessons Palpatine never taught him, how to wield power without being controlled, how to avoid the mistakes that left him trapped in black armor. But Luke doesn't want a mentor. He wants a throne. Palpatine, ever the manipulator, stokes the fire of competition. He praises Luke in front of Vader, saying, "Your son has surpassed you, Lord Vader. He is the future of the Empire. He gives Luke missions Vader once coveted, hunting down high-ranking rebels, overseeing the construction of a new Death Star, and lets Vader seethe in the shadows. Luke, hungry for Palpatine's approval, embraces the rivalry. He undermines Vader's authority, questions his tactics, and even publicly contradicts him during Imperial Council meetings. "You're too soft," Luke sneers at Vader after a mission where Vader spared a group of civilian hostages. The dark side doesn't tolerate mercy. Vader's mechanical breath hitches, and for a moment you can hear the ghost of Anakin Skywalker in his voice. "I am your father. You will respect me." But Luke just laughs, igniting his lightsaber. Respect is earned. And right now, I'm the one earning the Emperor's favor. The rivalry escalates from words to action. They compete to take down rebel cells, to capture Jedi survivors, to impress Palpatine. Once, they even fight over a lightsaber, crystal rare, powerful, and Palpatine's gift to whoever completes their next mission first. Luke wins, and he shoves the crystal in Vader's face, saying, "See? I'm better than you ever were." Vader doesn't respond, but his hand tightens around his own lightsaber. The father-son bond that once held the potential for redemption is now a powder keg. Palpatine watches, smiling, because he knows exactly what he's doing. A divided apprentice and heir are easier to control than a united front. But what Palpatine doesn't realize is that he's created a monster that even he might not be able to contain. Luke's ambition isn't just to surpass Vader, it's to surpass Palpatine. He's been watching the Emperor, studying his tactics, learning his weaknesses, and when the time is right, he plans to strike. The tragedy of the Apprentice's ascent isn't just that Luke falls, it's that he falls so completely, so willingly. He's not tricked or brainwashed, he chooses darkness, again and again, because it gives him what he's always wanted: purpose, power, and recognition. But in that choice, he loses everything that made him Luke Skywalker: the kindness, the hope, the belief that people are worth saving. He becomes a stranger to himself, a shell of the farm boy from Tatooine who once dreamed of flying among the stars. And the galaxy pays the price. The rebellion is on the brink of collapse, the Jedi are extinct, and the Empire's grip on power is tighter than ever. But there's a glimmer of chaos in this darkness. Vader and Luke's rivalry, it's a crack in the Empire's armor, a sign that even the most corrupt systems can turn on themselves. Will Vader ever find the courage to stop his son? Will Luke's ambition eventually consume him? Or will Palpatine destroy both of them to keep his throne? That's the power of this what-if scenario. It doesn't just scare us, it makes us confront a painful truth. Heroism isn't inherent. It's a choice, one that must be made again and again, even when the dark side whispers promises of easier paths and greater power. Luke Skywalker's ascent as the Empire's apprentice isn't just a story of corruption, it's a warning. A warning that the line between good and evil is thin, that power can twist even the purest hearts, and that the ones we think are untouchable are often the most vulnerable. As Luke stands beside Palpatine in the Imperial Palace, staring out at a galaxy trembling at his feet, he thinks he's won. But the truth is, he's lost more than he'll ever know. The farm boy from Tatooine is gone. In his place is a Sith Lord, hungry for more, blind to the emptiness of the power he's fought so hard to gain. And somewhere in the shadows, Darth Vader watches, his red eyes glowing with a mix of pride, anger, and regret. The Apprentice has ascended, but the war for the galaxy and for the soul of the Skywalker family is only just beginning. When the galaxy's last beacon of light becomes its darkest weapon, even the bravest resistance doesn't stand a chance. This isn't just a story of Imperial victory, it's a study of how one choice, Luke Skywalker's defection, ripples outward to shatter every pillar the rebellion relies on. Their first major win, their ability to hide, and even the galaxy's willingness to fight back. Let's break down why each piece of this collapse isn't just a plot twist, but a masterclass in how power, strategy, and symbolism can turn resistance into a death sentence. First, let's confront the linchpin, no Death Star blowup. The original Death Star's destruction wasn't just a military win, it was the rebellion's proof of concept. It told the galaxy, the Empire isn't unbeatable. We can win. But with Luke's defection, that proof vanishes. Think about how the rebellion planned the attack. Luke, with his natural piloting skill and nascent force sensitivity, was the one supposed to make the impossible shot. The trench run, the proton torpedoes into the exhaust port. But Luke doesn't just skip the mission, he betrays it. He tells Palpatine every detail: the rebels' X-Wing squadrons, their plan to target the exhaust port, even the code they'll use to bypass the Death Star's shields. When the rebellion ships jump out of hyperspace above Yavin, they don't find a vulnerable battle station. They find Luke in a TIE Advanced, leading a squadron of Imperial fighters waiting for them. The battle isn't a fight, it's a massacre. Leia's ship is shot down before she can even issue a command. Han Solo, flying the Millennium Falcon, tries to outmaneuver Luke, but Luke uses the Force to lock onto his engines, crippling the ship mid-flight. By the time the rebels retreat, those who survive, the Death Star is still intact, hovering over Yavin like a black sun. The cost? More than just ships. It's hope. The rebellion had spent years begging planets to join them, to donate resources, to risk everything. And now, with their great plan, a disaster, those planets close their borders. The Mon Calamari, who are considering allying with the rebels, send a message. We will not fight a losing war. The Bothans, who'd spied for the rebellion, go silent. The rebellion isn't just weakened, it's adrift. They have no major victories to rally around, no proof that they can hurt the Empire. And worst of all, they know the Empire has their former hero on their side. This isn't just a failed mission, it's the death of the rebellion's identity as a viable force. But Luke's impact goes beyond just preserving the Death Star. It's his unique blend of strategic genius with force power that turns weakened rebellion into extinct rebellion. The rebellion's greatest strength was always invisibility. They hid in remote systems, in abandoned outposts, in the cracks of the Empire's control. But Luke doesn't just fight them with ships or stormtroopers. He fights them with the Force, a tool no Imperial general has ever wielded so effectively. Let's take a concrete example. The rebellion's cell on Hoth, a frozen wasteland they thought was untraceable. Luke doesn't need spies or scanners. He closes his eyes, reaches out with the Force, and feels them. The heat of their generators, the fear of their soldiers, the hum of their ion cannons. He leads an Imperial strike force straight to their base. But he doesn't just charge in. He uses the Force to disable their shield generators from the inside, tearing through metal like paper. When rebel soldiers try to fight back, Luke lifts their blasters with his mind, flinging them away. When their leader tries to escape on a snowspeeder, Luke freezes the vehicle midair, yanking the pilot out with a flick of his wrist. This isn't just tactics, it's overkill. The rebellion can't adapt because Luke understands them better than they understand themselves. He knows their hiding spots. He would have suggested them. Their escape routes. He would have used them. Their weak points. He would have exploited them if he'd stayed. And when you pair that insider knowledge with the Force, an ability to sense, manipulate, and destroy without ever firing a blaster, you get a weapon the rebellion can't counter. They can't hide from the Force. They can't outthink someone who knows their playbook. And soon, their cells start falling one by one. Naboo, Ryloth, Endor, each taken down by Luke's precision. The rebellion's last leader, Leia, goes into hiding, but Luke tracks her to a remote asteroid field. He doesn't kill her. He brings her back to Coruscant, paraded in chains as a warning. Resistance ends here, he says, his voice broadcast across the galaxy. And for once, everyone believes it. Which brings us to the final, most suffocating piece, the Galactic Iron Fist. The Empire's control wasn't just military before Luke. It was bureaucratic, clunky, reliant on stormtroopers and fear. But with Luke, it becomes absolute. He's not just an enforcer, he's a symbol. The Empire plastered his face on holograms in every city. Luke Skywalker, the hero turned loyal, standing beside Palpatine, his crimson lightsaber at his side. The message is clear. If even the boy who was supposed to save you joined the Empire, what hope do you have? It's psychological warfare on a galactic scale. People stop whispering about rebellion in cantinas. They stop hiding Jedi relics in their attics. They stop teaching their kids about the Old Republic because Luke's very existence says, that past is gone. This is forever. The Empire's control seeps into every part of life. Curfews, loyalty oaths, mandatory Skywalker lectures in schools, where children are taught that the Force is the Empire's gift and resistance is a sin. Luke enforces this not with cruelty, though he doesn't shy from it, but with certainty. When a group of farmers on Tatooine refuse to pay Imperial taxes, Luke doesn't send stormtroopers to burn their farms. He walks into their village, stands in the square, and says, "Pay, or I will make you pay." The farmers pay. When a senator speaks out against the Empire's new peacekeeping laws, Luke visits her in her office, and by the time he leaves, she's retracting her statements on live hologram. No one knows what he did, only that resistance is futile. This is the Empire's iron fist, not just fear of punishment, but fear of even trying. And Luke is the glove on that fist. Visible, unyielding, a reminder that the galaxy's once brightest star now shines for the dark. But here's the deeper analysis. This isn't just a story of Imperial dominance. It's a story of how hope dies, not with a bang, but with a whimper. The Death Star's survival isn't just a military win. It's the loss of the rebellion's ability to dream. Luke's strategic brilliance isn't just about efficiency. It's about stripping the rebellion of their last refuge, their belief that they can outsmart the Empire. The Galactic Iron Fist isn't just about control. It's about erasing the very idea that resistance is possible. In the original Star Wars, the rebellion wins because they have Luke, his hope, his courage, his willingness to believe in the good. In this timeline, the Empire wins for the same reason. They have Luke, his rage, his precision, his willingness to destroy the good. It's a mirror held up to the galaxy. The same person who could save you can also break you. Could the rebellion ever come back? Maybe, but not anytime soon. Luke has closed every crack they could hide in, silenced every voice that could rally them, and turned the galaxy's fear into compliance. The Empire's control is absolute, and Luke is its most terrifying weapon. Not because he's the strongest, but because he was once the most loved. He's living proof that hope isn't a permanent thing. It's a choice. One Luke stopped making, and one the galaxy has stopped daring to make. As Luke stands on the bridge of the Death Star, staring out at a galaxy that no longer fights back, he doesn't feel joy. He doesn't feel pride. He feels empty. The rage that fueled him is gone. The thirst for power is sated, but he can't go back. The farm boy from Tatooine is dead, and the Imperial Enforcer is all that's left. Somewhere in the dark of space, Leia waits, planning, hoping, but even she knows the truth. The rebellion is crushed. The galaxy is in chains, and the man who once was supposed to break them is the one holding the key. That's the tragedy of crushing the rebellion. It's not just about the Empire winning. It's about the galaxy losing the one thing that makes fighting worth it: hope. And in that loss, we see just how much the fate of the stars depends on the choices of the ones who shine brightest.